levels you need to triage the market. Coming in with a little bid them up. They can't go down. This market keeps going round and round. Buy the highs and sell the lows. I'll just blame it on Uncle Joe. Abracadabra. Welcome, HFR from the floor. Little Steve Miller band, dude. Steve Miller's got so many hits, like it's unreal. His catalog is fantastic. Giant Steve.
It's a good one.
And you know, we on the downtime on the floor and in the pit, we used to have fun making up alternate lyrics to tunes that we could get under the skin of another broker and sing it to them. You know, like that one, like buy the high, sell the low. Like if you see a guy really, you would sing that to him. Abracadabra. Reach out and grab you or grab all your money. Buy the high, sell the low. Blame it on Uncle Joe. Anyway, Market Vitals is the show. MarketVitals.io is a community. And Matt Davio missed trade out of Twitter jail, a 10-month stint he did in Twitter. How's the food, by the way, in Twitter jail?
Horrible
food. Apparently FTX.
It was all vegan and weird.
FTX had don't say vegan and weird with Lee right here. You know, not weird. Anyway, let's jump off, Matt. Let me.
I have nothing wrong with. I have nothing against vegetables. Nothing. I'm all for vegetables.
Lee said, "How were the showers? And did you slip in Twitter jail? Very, very dangerous situation there."
No, I didn't fall for the old banana in the tailpipe.
All right, I'm going to share because right away, Matt. A giant happy birthday out to one of the greatest actors. You want to talk about range? Joe Pesci, dude, it's so underrated on the range of his acting. From the incredible slapstick comedy, right, of Home Alone to the fucking dead balls accurate darkness of Casino and Goodfellas. And My Cousin Vinny, which I named my dog after. It's so great. Great. Right? Utes. These Utes. Anyway, I couldn't find my Gucci sunglasses. I got a pair of Gucci sunglasses. By the way, and Joe, not the first to rock this look, right? This is straight out of Chicago, Sam Giancana, one of the great mob bosses in mob boss history. Happy birthday, Joe Pesci. 80 years old, 80 years young.
Make
Jersey guy.
Great again.
Yeah, just fantastic. You know, and from there, since I'm up, actually I still haven't figured out how to do that. I got to come out and come back in because I have the Zoom thing up on the top and I can't get to my other tabs when it's like that. Unreal. Matt, did you hear about the NASCAR story? Let's come in with a little.
I did not.
The NASCAR story was very interesting, and I got a relative that is facing the same thing on the other border. But hold on, let me share it with you because this was awesome. This is from a couple days ago. Kyle Busch caught with a gun at a Mexican airport, sentenced to 3 years in prison. I read this headline and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This guy's going to sit in a Mexican jail. Speaking of jail or prison, he's basically in a Twitter prison though, Matt, because he was sentenced to 3 years, but he's in North Carolina. So what it means to me is he's never going back to Mexico ever again.
I guess not. Yeah,
I have a brother the same way in Canada. Like you can't come back.
Well, I was talking to a guy yesterday who's got a house in Mexico, and he was saying that guns aren't illegal, but like you can protect your house, but outside of your house you can't. So I was like, well, how do you get the gun to your house? So maybe Kyle was just trying to take it to his house.
He was landed in Cancun and forgot he had a handgun in his
the double innuendo there is ridiculous. Like, how do you enforce such rules? I guess, it's ridiculous.
With all those patches on them, first of all, I don't see the Mexican flag. Shame on him.
Skittles and M&Ms just pop. He should just bring bags of Skittles and M&Ms to the TSA guys, and that would have taken care of it, maybe.
I don't know. All right, Matt, let's talk about price discovery. And you shared this. Hold on, let me get to the Market Vitals homepage. Because this is the one I want to talk about. Yield curve inversion has made new multi-decade, let's say that again, multi-decade extreme. In the past, this usually followed recession, yada, yada, yada. Interesting though here that it's now below all of our recent troubles, right? 2000, 08, 06, and this big inversion here in 1980 is where it's targeting. If I'm a chartist, I'm thinking, why wouldn't it go there? Why wouldn't it repeat that history?
Yeah.
Of that giant inversion. Matt, you can trade this much easier, and we're going to get to some more answers on this, because before trading the yield curve, it wasn't straightforward, i.e. that the 2-year, 5-year, 10-year, and 30-year contracts all were specifically designed for those issues, had different notional values than one another. I don't know this, but I think when they brought out the rate contracts, it was specifically to, first off, just trade that rate, but also to trade this yield curve in an easier fashion. Either way, it's only been trading since late October or September, of 21. Do you want to bring it up, or
yeah, I can bring
side of it?
I'll bring up the 2-year if you want to bring up the yield, because I bought the 2-year just 2 days ago.
Why don't you do that, and then I'll just go to the spread.
I just bought it at 4. We talked about this just within the week, and it's now 440. So again, we just talked about it 2 days ago, but I was buying it on Friday down there at 4, went down to 396, and now 440, 439 trades, Bob, through the roof. I mean, but again, you start looking at the longer time frames, and this looks like, again, gets over that 444. It looks like it's going to go test the high, which is 480. I think we'll see 5s. I mean, why wouldn't we see 5s on the 2 years? I think that's coming. I think the pullback was what was necessary to, get people short and trap. It's all a trap game. And this hasn't changed. Like you were talking about, just this was negative when these started trading. These were 20 cents or 0.2%. So that's just crazy. If you bought this the day these things came public, it's always interesting, like these new products like this, like they usually do this, right? Whatever it is, whether it was milk or whatever, I'm sure it goes through, but they knew this was coming. Obviously, everybody knew rates had to go higher after the inflation, the everything that we went through in the printing of everything during COVID. I mean, it had to work itself out like this, and we got pain to come yet. We do have pain to come.
Well, I've seen a couple of stats. 22 months now, inflation higher than wage growth. A lot of these things, they just can't possibly go away.
They don't go away. And you were talking about, what were the German numbers this morning?
Yeah. 7 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time. The German CPI was like 8.2. They were expecting 8.7. And I think we didn't really react off of it last night. It was 11 o'clock West Coast time, 1 in the morning if you're in Chicago, 2 in the morning. See, I just did math. But the market kind of just took that information in and then just kind of drifted higher all night with it. Right. Anyway, back to
what's weird though, like during the same time, and I'm just gonna, because we haven't talked about it before you touch on that, I just want to throw up another chart.
Yeah.
I just threw up. I mean, if we overlaid interest rates and the new QQQ, which is ARC, I mean, they're the same chart. At least, look at this. I mean, this is just to the end of the year, but ARC has gone crazy with interest rates going up. Doesn't really make much sense, does it? But we were talking about this earlier also, MicroStrategies, some of these stocks, I'm just going to point it out, but MicroStrategies is up 150% since December 31st. 133 to 301 is 150% in a month. Make Bitcoin great again. And, again, But again, you pull these back, don't get too excited about these charts. Like, I mean, that's a big move, but we're just in a big bracket right now. And, you know, yeah, we might be able to cruise up to 450. But again, I think Bitcoin's going to have to go over 25 for that to happen, 25,000. And it's
Well, there is a small nuance here too that I was explaining on the way in, and that's this and like the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. These are what would you call it? It's like you have since you don't want to hold the assets yourself, you invest in somebody that then invests in the assets. Right? So it's a one-off.
Yeah.
And the amount of Bitcoin that this whole MicroStrategies hold or Grayscale Bitcoin Trust holds, that actual notional value can be different than the actual notional value of the underlying asset. So if everybody's heading for the door, their holdings can actually be worth more than the value of the trust.
Right.
So the trust is trading at a discount to the asset. And it's just a mechanism of people wanting in and out. And it can also trade to a premium to it. Like,
right.
And then that's just on flows.
My point is nothing's changed. We're, you know, this 25,000, 26,000 is holding pretty tightly. And that's, you know, again, that's when we broke that 30,000 level back in the spring last year. So this has been a long time, and nothing's really changed. So don't just, you know, don't get too excited.
By the way, the crypto winter can last at least another 8 months and not even be out. Again, we talk about this all the time. What is out of the norm of relativity? Like, what has it done before? I'm a Dr. Phil guy. Like the previous performance is a good indicator of future situational development. Matt, are you seeing my chart?
Yes, we are.
All right. So this again, these interest rate contracts came on in August of 21, and the 2-year was made a low of $1.30, basically 130 under the 10-year. And this thing is just, this inversion has been going on. Tell me how long an inversion goes on for. Well, I'm saying it's still going on, right? And
yep.
if you look at the chart before, it's 80 cents over, and I'm not sure exactly which inversion you were showing inside Market Vitals, but that went to almost 2.5, almost 2.5 under.
I was showing the 210. So
yeah, all right. So the same thing. So back in in the 80s, what I'm telling you is this chart made it all the way up to here.
Yep.
You know, so it's, I don't know. Are they gonna be able
I don't know if we're going to 1980s interest rates, just because I think that would, you know, literally wreck everything. And they again, they're trying for the, you know, the Little Red Riding Hood perfect fit.
The soft landing?
Any landing. Anything but a crash landing.
All right, man, let's move on. We got Super Bowl Sunday. And always a big part of the story is the commercials, right? And I like this tweet from George, Chicago Advisor, George. Go Bears. Anyway, he shared 10,000 in 2022 Super Bowl advert. If you invested 10 grand in the 2022 Super Bowl advisors, this is how much you would have today. FTX, you get Stugatz. Carvana, you get 920 and a rug mat for your car. Vroom, 1750. I mean, these are just some giant discounts.
Yeah.
So you give me a du jour draft. Why don't we start with DraftKings? Because your 10 grand is worth 25% less as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm surprised that list. I mean, so you're looking at probably a 40% overall decline on your portfolio there, by my quick eye math. But yeah, I mean, it's
bring somebody up.
DraftKings, DKNG. Again, the beginning of last year was trading right here around where was it? Yeah, right. Well, the start of 22, it was up here. I mean, yeah, the real sell we talked about was 21, when everybody was, you know, gambling Davy Boy crazy, when all these stocks were going bananas, right? So they peaked in 21 when everybody was full degenerate. And And I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, this really has been in a bracket 10 to 20 since the start of 22. So for DraftKings, it's not that exciting. I mean, it's basically been in, again, a $10 bracket, and that's where we've stayed, and that was kind of where it came public. So that held, and that goes back to 2020. Let's see, room. What is that? Is it VR?
You tell me.
I think it's VRM. I couldn't remember, but I just want to look at it just because it's a zero.
Oh my God.
Again, this is you think about the car, the stupidity of this car business, right? Again, whether it's electric cars and Tesla or anything, cars aren't new, but this is a Portland-based company that has another app that you can buy and sell cars. There's a bazillion of those, Carvana, etc. I mean, this is the pets.com. Cars became, the retail.com de jour. I mean, that's pets.com, hats.com,
barkbox.com,
whatever.com, right? And so cars was the latest one. $109, still worth 163 million, going to zero. So, but it's not the short, it's a dead stock. I mean, just take it off the board, just put it to rest.
It needs to go back into the pink slips, right? Onto the pink board.
Well, and again, if you were an insider and you sold in these first, and I hope some insiders were able to get out, in this first year, but most of them, that's the reality. Like even the workers that are there, they can't even get out of this shit because they got to hold it for 5 years, right? Usually. So, the only people that win here are, the people that take you public, Goldman Sachs, and that's about it.
That's the easy money. Money winners.
That's the easy money.
All right, man. Listen, congratulations to Aiden Hutchinson, the Pepsi Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. How about it?
I gotta tell you, it's exciting times for a Detroit football fan. First time in 70 years. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they've made the playoffs a few times here and there.
Right.
Eric Hipple, right? He made the playoffs, didn't he?
Yeah. Gary Danielson probably once or twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But defense wins championships, Matt, and all they need is well, I don't know what they need, but it's nice to see.
I think they're probably the playoff team next year. Because their schedule was tough this year. I mean, they played Philly. They only lost by like a last second field goal, or it was early in the season, but that should have told you everything you needed to know right in the beginning, that this team is going to be a competitor. So yeah, it's exciting for Detroit because I still think the Red Wings are a year or two away from really being a serious contender. They're young, they're feisty. I was watching that game on the SOTU night instead of watching that performance. I watched the hockey game and it was great. I mean, Edmonton is no slouch, and they had to use everything, and they had to beat the shit out of us, and we had to beat the shit out of them for them to finally escape that game. But it was a close one. But again, Detroit, the Pistons are horrible. The Lions are on the upswing. The Tigers were going to suck again.
That's so disappointing too.
It's so disappointing.
Seriously, I got to tell you, because it is the way they got it rocking downtown now in Detroit.
Yeah,
there's especially on a Sunday with the market and the what do they call that? What do they call the big market?
Eastern Market.
Eastern Market.
Yeah,
they're slinging ribs left, right, and center. The smells.
Speaking of the smell over here, is I've got the slow cooking ribs going again today. They've been in since 7 a.m. They've already been in 4 hours. I got another 4. You're saying I went slow and low?
No. You're not taking notes, Barry. I said 2
hours.
This is a different recipe.
This is a different recipe. Yeah,
got it.
I did this a couple weeks ago where I just slow cooked them.
Let me just tell you something here. Let's go to the Manja kitchen while we're at it.
I didn't have any rub, so I didn't. I'm on a rub.
No. This. Stick with me now.
Mm-hmm.
Stick with me. You might find this to be crazy, but stick with me. Yeah, bingo, right there in the Manja kitchen. Take those ribs, right, and half of them pull the bones out and chop the meat, right?
Yeah.
Set the other half aside. Then with that meat and all the juice that's already in there,
I only have like 5 or 6. I got like the big thick ones, you know.
add a couple of bottles of any kind of marinara sauce, right? Turn this into a Sunday gravy. Dude, this is a great hack for Sunday gravy, quick. Or not necessarily quick, but you can cook the meat separately.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat them all.
I'm telling you.
I'm gonna
You
eat
can
them all.
cook the meat separately, chop it up, add store-bought marinara, right? And
Yeah.
it's a great hack right here from the Manja Kitchen.
Gotcha.
And I'm gonna stick with my thought that the fajita, the taco, the burrito bar, even a slider bar, you can do sliders too. Like that is the greatest thing for a Super Bowl party because everybody gets to make their own.
Well, and you know, the slobs like you and I, and you know, we can have 100 of them, and the girls can have 1. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. It's like you're going back for another one. I'm like, yeah, get out of my way.
It's only my 7th.
Why are you in my way? Exactly.
They're sliders, and it's only my 7th.
I don't know why. I don't know why you got to be poking fun at me. Like I thought we were past that in this world, right? You can't. There's no fun to be poked anywhere ever anymore.
Nope.
Let me do this too because I don't like it there. I'm gonna put the cleaver right here. Look at that bong. That's fantastic ability. Fantastic.
Hey,
Right,
so
man,
you know, we were talking. Let's talk a little Google because we were talking.
Let's talk that, and then let's come back to the stock market because it really has been abracadabra. I mean, every run into the 70s in the SPOOs has been a great chance to sell, and we've had 3 or 4 of them now. Abracadabra. Want to reach out and grab
I mean, I sold a little bit last night. I'm leaving orders at levels, and for me, it's 41.70, it's 42.10. You know, on the upside, those were the 2 levels. I got a little off at 41.70 at 3 a.m. here in the West Coast. Woke up, we were already at 41.55 or whatever. Then it rallied to 65 and continued to sell off. You know, it's hard. Like for me, I can't find a lot of conviction in this market, quite honestly.
Either way, exactly.
Either way.
Give me some, you know.
It's a difficult spot. I don't feel like chasing long. But Google has really been run over. And interestingly, it has not participated at all in these rallies. And primarily, it did a little bit. You know, we rallied from 83 to 113 or so. So, yeah, you know, this thing sold off, basically got halved, 101 down here to right around 83. And then we went up to 112. Now we're trading 95, down another 5%. And that's all because of this AI noise, right? Now the market's hammering them for their poor display of their product. Like they rolled this out and it wasn't ready clearly. And everybody was like, well, that's shit. So they've hammered the stock. And, you know, but it's interesting. Then, you know, Microsoft again went up, you know, I want to bring that up because it spiked again this morning, 274, but it's selling off again now. It's actually red for the day. This really looks froth city, but who knows?
Wait a second, though. Wait a second. Leave it there. Leave it there, Matt, because it does have what it does have going for it is, and I agree with you that it should retest. And God damn, I am so bad at what I do.
Well, and where it stopped was right on and I'm bringing this up because this is going back to COVID lows, right? 130 to 350. It stopped right in the point of control, which was 212. And we rallied up from there now. This is the second time. The second time we came down end of the year around 219. It's kind of a Galaga. It's kind of
I knew we'd get a chance to bring in.
It's kind of lost its left wings a little bit. It's been clipped, which is dangerous. So if it does get below that 212, you're gonna be really bearish still, like the next time below. But again, I don't see this thing getting over 300 right now. I mean, all the news, all the earnings, all the job cuts, all that is baked into the cost already in the price of this stock. So, you know, Microsoft has been a leader, and as has Apple. And for me, this market doesn't see a bottom until Apple sees double digits. I still think we'll see. I mean, it conservatively, right? 52 to 183. And we're at I don't see us getting over 150. I don't see us getting over 160 in Apple right now. And for that matter, we've just been in this heavy range. So
And
these
again,
these will be the last stocks to fall, is all I'm saying, because
Yes.
they're all so wide. But the fact that Google is selling off gives a bear hope that eventually they will sell these too. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And again, that profile compared to which one did we share yesterday that was so broken?
But to me, I still think 100 is kind of the top of this area down here. But why wouldn't we trade down to 80? I mean, that's not the COVID low, and that's that would be half off from where we are. And I think that's probably, again, in this perfect flying market where there are no landings, that's got to happen before a bottom comes in. I believe.
Makes sense, man. That makes sense. The Galaga. I got everything going on here. I got the cleaver trying to cut my head off.
We're sitting on the lows of the day, but not the lows of the week. Again, they walked them up overnight. Maybe it was on that, the information out of Germany. I don't know why they walked. I mean, it was just strange. I woke up like at midnight. I'm like, well, I got my sell in there at 41.70, and then when I woke up at 5, I'm like, all right, that fell at 41.70. Why didn't we walk up 45, 50 points overnight? Like there was no news, but there's a continuous, that's when, whoever has their finger on the buy button right now. And that does seem to be that you're fighting some type of algo. I don't know why.
Program. Yep. Right.
Yeah. The bonds just ticked red. They were green. I mean, they've retraced $2 full here. So the UB was all the way up there, 142.5, I think, Bob, and it's now back down to 142 and change.
140 and change. Right on.
Excuse me. Yes, 140 and change. And as far as that goes, let's take a peek at those, because, and then again, the dollar tried to tip over and it got bid. Again, not making new lows here today, which makes this a difficult market all week. Really, again, look where we are. We're in a range. Don't overthink it. Just know what you're going to do when it gets outside of these ranges.
All right. What are you going to share? Anything else? Did we lose you?
No, I'm just listening to you.
Let's trade.
Right. I know. I'm here.
Make sure that I covered everything I wanted to cover.
I'm here.
And I think I have. All right. Got. Are there any other economic calendar wise? We're all just still pinged for Tuesday's CPI.
Yeah, it looks like that's what we're gonna do. Yes. Lee's asking about Madison Square Garden. Again, I'm happy to bring it up. Barely trades 240,000 shares a day. It's fine, like everything else. Trying to find a temporary bottom. 39 up here to 61, maybe up to 68.
Again, like that's a perfect example, Matt. If you're long this, congratulations.
Yeah.
You've gotten back to especially if you pick it up near the lows.
Uh-huh.
You've got serious profit in this trade. You got a
50% gain off the bottom, and if you own it from 84, 60 is better than 39.
The bear shows.
Well, I know a lot of people bought it here, and I know a lot of people bought this spike, and I know a lot of people are buying this spike. That's my point. I sell into spikes. People like to buy into them. I don't know why.
Right on.
I mean,
they obviously never bought a bag of weed.
There's nothing new coming up to the Madison Square Garden, except you got the Knicks, you got the Rangers, you got what's new? You got concerts.
You got Joe and his woke blokes. It's a new touring show.
And you got a heavy overhead. You got a heavy overhead up here to 70. So if you can get another $9 out, if you can squeeze some more juice out of that turnip, it's pretty dry.
So wait a second, is that the same chart?
Yeah, I just pulled it back just a little bit further. That's all.
Well, I mean, that chart is telling me a little bit different story because
What's it telling you?
well, if it can recapture that value range, that you should at least probably go to that point of control.
Well, what time frame are you trading on? You're trading on,
And that is always the argument.
Yeah.
And that is where people make the mistake most often. Right.
pull it back to I'll pull it all the way back since it hasn't been trading, because this one was repurposed obviously too in 2020. Everything got repurposed.
Right on. So this is a Playboy play.
But
right?
but it's the same
Take
thing.
a private, take a public.
The big
Right on.
picture says 70. Good luck. Good luck getting up there.
Let me ask you a question. Is it paying a dividend?
Nope.
Again, so is it cash flow? I mean, it's like,
Yeah, I mean,
what is
you might as well own gold. You might as well own Bitcoin if you want to own something speculative, because
right.
but my point is none of these things pay dividends. So why hold any of them? They're trading vehicles only.
Perfect.
And to your
No,
point,
I agree with you. Well, here's the nuance though, because this is a cash flow business. Like, right. So if you're investing, like Madison Square Garden isn't going to become a spaceship or something. It's going to host events, and it can either make money or lose money. And if it makes money, it should be paying a dividend.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way I think about it.
How about NVIDIA? The recovery on this one has been somewhat powerful. And I just wanted to do something because I haven't done this. I wanted to see the high to the low of 108 and see where we are in the fib, because I hadn't looked at this in a while, because I think this bounce is getting close to nearing expiration. And again, I don't see it going over probably 250. This is a long-term chart. I mean, this is going back before COVID. So, if we just go back to COVID.
Where's the 618? That's way up there. Yeah.
It's 256 or so.
Perfect.
And we're at we hit the 50 right here at 227. We hit 230 today. So, we kind of blew through the 50. Man, the 50 sellers are already in now.
And I don't like the 50 sell personally.
I prefer the 61.8 because
Yeah,
everyone knows the 50, but I'm a golden ratio guy. 61.8 is much more powerful because it's a much easier place to start too. The 50 usually will give you exactly what it gave you here, which is about 1.5%, 2%. If you sold 230, you right now you're off $3 or $4. Take your profits. I'm not saying it's not going to go down, but I don't know. I would like to see more. This thing even on a 15 minutes got to break a little bit, and it hasn't. So depending on again what time frame you're looking at, that was a broader time frame going back 3 years. This thing's still marching up. I would wait for this to roll over. It tried here, it failed. Now it's got another high. See, you've had 3 failures. Well, I mean, this one basically tested the bottom. So we've been going up now again since the end of the year. So this has been a powerful move. I mean, this is $100. This is, again, you're talking 60, 75% from 140 up to 230. So pretty powerful.
Right on.
And the chips, SMH, same thing. Like, I'm surprised at how well the chip sector is holding up considering. But I guess, a lot of it's banked on China, how fast they're going to be, rebuying things with, everything's got a chip in it. So I guess a lot of this still is on the reopening, how fast and furious of China, along with the fact that most of these stocks were sold hard the last quarter of 22. So trapped in the hole. Now you've worked off all that excess down in the hole. So now, what's left? You've had earnings. The earnings have been good because they played the game well. Most of these companies played it well. Will they be as good next time? I don't know. I have no idea. We'll see. We'll see come April, May, right?
Right on. All right, Matt, before we go, I just wanted to just point this out one more time. I have a problem, and it's a Shrimp Mojo problem. Matt, I was just noticing here that I bought 5 pounds of my own rub.
You do have a problem.
I purchased 5 times. I bought 5 pounds. I'm dealing in the alleyway. I'm dealing dime bags of rub because it's that good. For $25, if you're selling ounces, you could sell them for $8 easy. You do the math. 8 times 16. I mean, it's a layup business model. That's all I'm telling you.
Right.
Hey, we need dealers on the street. We need them in corners. We need them in alleyways. I'm going to talk like a guy, one of my guys. Anyway, buy some rub, start dealing. start dealing flavor is what mostly you're going to deal. Anyway, Amazon.com just serve shrimp mojo, and you're going to be able to purchase a pound. Get a pound. Why not get a pound?
Why not?
Why not get a pound? All right, I think that's it. That's what we got. Please join us at marketbuddies.io. Please retweet the broadcast. Look out for the Gallagher formation if you are a market profile trader, because it is powerful. Matt, the Gallagher is the most well-distributed of the formations.
Yes, it is.
So when you have broken formations that are not Gallagher-esque, be careful. That's what we're saying.
Yep.
All right, anything else? Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Mark. And we'll be back again tomorrow for another segmente. All right.
Over and out. Thank you, Bob.
Mirrors and straws.